Hey guys, welcome to Mike It Yourself. Today's video, we're going to work a little bit on the front wheel here for the KZ1000. Ever since I had the rims powder coated, the front wheel specifically leaks a lot of air. So I think what happened is the tire's not getting a good seal because of the powder coat on the inside of the wheel. So we're going to pull this tire off and sand that down to get that removed, and then put the tire on. And I'm not sure if what I'm doing is gonna throw off the balance. I am gonna chalk it to see if I can line everything up, but yeah, I guess we'll see, huh? So working with me today is my cat, my little one, and she's gonna be doing some of the work here. So we're gonna start by taking off the brake calipers. We got 2 of them on this bike in the front, and then we'll hit that axle rod and the pinch bolts, and we should be able to slide this thing right out. Okay, so I've got the brake calipers off both sides. I have them hanging over here on the engine crash guard, and now I'm going to go ahead and just push that axle rod through. So I've already taken the end off there, and once we get it through, the wheel will be able to come down, but I'm gonna have to raise the bike up a little higher so it can clear the fender. And then once it's clear, I want to bring it back down because we're about to lose all of the weight here on the front end, and the bike's gonna want to basically pop a wheelie on the jack. So I want to bring it down and put some wooden blocks underneath the back wheel to keep that back wheel from going too low and this thing sliding off the jack on me. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get those blocks in place and pick this bike up a little higher. So now we're going to deflate the tire. I can't find my valve stem remover at the moment, so I'm going to try this, which is just basically hooking up the air hose chuck that you would normally use to inflate the tire. I'm going to go ahead and hook that up and just squeeze it without the air hose on there, of course, to let the air out that way. So it's working. This should take about a hot minute to get done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark using a white pencil where the tire is in relation to the valve stem. So when I put the tire back on, I line everything up, and in theory that should kind of keep the balance for the most part in place. But I guess I'll see then. Okay, so I've got my wheel on its side here. Underneath it I've got my rubber mallet, and then I'm going to use this wooden dowel to go across the top here. I don't know if that'll work well. Actually, I can't get that lined up. What I am going to try to do is just use the mallet underneath and actually break the bead in reverse here. Alright, so it looks like I need a little bit more height on this. So I'm going to rotate my mallet. Make sure it's not sitting on the rim. Let's give it another run here. Oh. Alright, it's solid, so that tells me I'm on the rim. So you heard that? That was the bead breaking. So now, if you take a look, you can see the tire is separated from the rim. So now I just got to work it around, and I'll have to use some screwdrivers to get the tire off, but the hard part is kind of done. The next hard part is actually getting the tire off the rim, depending on the tire and the rim. Okay guys, so I'm working on getting this tire off, and my original plan was to just use some pry bar screwdrivers, and that wasn't working out for me. So on YouTube I found a guy, actually more than one, but the one I watched, this guy used zip ties, and he didn't make it look super easy. There is a little bit of work to be done. So you gotta, you know, once you broke your bead, get your zip tie, and you need longer zip ties. So if you have the little short guys, I mean, I guess you could try to do it with that, but you'll struggle. Even with these longer ones, I'm having to double up on them. They had some really, like, look like they were pretty beefy ones in their video. So I'm using what I have, and I'm having to get some needles in there, but basically you get it off to the other side, and then you cinch them down, and what that is supposed to do is compress the tire enough, get it, you know, squeeze it enough to where with a little bit of soapy water and some pressure, you're able to get the tire off. So I've never done this before. This is my first time, and I'm really hoping it's going to work, or else I'm going to have to either get my own kit, which wouldn't be a bad deal, or take this to the local tire shop and have them pull it off for me. But what I am seeing right now is that tire's pretty loose. So I'm going to go through, put a little bit more pressure on the tire all the way around, and zip these down a little bit tighter, and then I'm going to hit it with, I just happen to have some purple power, so I'll throw a little bit of that on there just to make it a little bit more slick. So the zip tie method didn't work out for me. My zip ties, well, it was a combination of things, so they didn't seem to be very strong or strong enough, so they were backing off. And what I ended up doing is just moving forward with using large flat screwdriver, throwing some duct tape on the tip to not damage my rim as much as possible, and I was able to get this thing kind of started. So I'm at a point now where I can kind of just do it with my finger. So I've got that first half off. I'm going to throw some more purple power on it and get the other half off, and then I should be able to start working on the rim itself. So it's taking a little bit longer than I was expecting, and a little bit harder than I was hoping that it wouldn't be, but it's coming along, it's happening. It just takes time and patience. So I finally got the tire off the rim. I'm beat. I'm gonna call it a night tonight, but looking at the rim, I'm not quite sold that it's the powder coating that was causing my issue, but I am going to still sand it anyways. That way I eliminate it for sure. But I did notice before I started putting all the purple power spray on this tire, and you can't see it right now because it's still pretty moist, so it's kind of hiding it, but there was, like, I guess the glue that they used to help seal it was all crusted and kind of clumpy. So I'm wondering if the glue they used to help seal the tire just wasn't effective, and that's been the cause of my problem. So I'm gonna let this sit overnight, let it dry out, so I can see if that glue's still there. Maybe the purple power kind of wiped it off as I was getting the tire off, and if it did, great. I'm still gonna, you know, clean it up really well, and then go ahead and put the tire back on. Alright, so I've taken some time to smooth the inner surface here. So this was all powder coated, and it was a little rough, and I think my problem may have been just too rough, right? So I wasn't getting a good bond when they put the tire on and put their sealant on there. So to make sure that isn't a problem this time, I went ahead and just used a drill gun and like a Brillo pad type scrubber, and went around the entire edge here, so it's very smooth to the touch of the rim. So that should resolve that as far as being a possible issue. And then on top of that, I went ahead and went around this tire, and there were clumps of the glue, so it wasn't like spread evenly. I don't know if that's normal. I'm assuming not. I would anticipate it would be a nice, like, sort of uniform look to it, but it wasn't. It was very clumpy. So it took a little bit of elbow grease, but I was able to get that off from the tire all the way around on both sides. So at this point, I am ready to go ahead and have this tire remounted. I think I will take it down to have it done, just because I think you're supposed to put some tire glue on there or some sealant type deal to help ensure that it seals properly. I mean, I could put this on and get it to rebead. I just don't know if it'll leak. So instead of finding out the hard way, I'd rather pay I think it's 30 bucks at my local motorcycle shop to get this thing on, mounted, balanced, and it'll be done. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and we'll get this tire back on the bike. So I got the tire back and the rim back from the shop. So now all we have to do is go ahead and put it back on the bike and take a look at it tomorrow morning and make sure it hasn't lost any pressure. If it hasn't, which is what I expected to not do, then this is a done deal. So let's go ahead and get this thing back on the bike. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap on the front tire project for the KZ1000. So I'll be checking that in the morning, making sure it didn't lose any pressure. I shouldn't, considering it's all been cleaned up. All the old glue was removed and everything put back on. So my next goal for this is something I've been waiting to get done for a while, is take it out to a parking lot so I can properly adjust my idle. To make sure all my settings are good to go. That'll have to wait a little bit because we got quite a few things going on with the holidays. But until then, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. I hope you learned a little something. And if you did, please like, subscribe. If you have questions or maybe some input, please comment below. And if you enjoy watching my videos, subscribe, go ahead and subscribe, and then hit that notification bell. I put them out every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So with that bell on there, you get notification to let you know when that next video is posted. And that way you don't miss out on the next one. Until then, I hope to see you all in the next video.